Hey YouTube, and welcome to the first episode of AnimeZerro. My name is Jordan Jennings, and this is where I talk about anime, cosplay, and the stuff that you say. And for those of you wondering about the lacerations on my hand, well, suffice to say that this is what can happen if you try and pull your cat out of a dog's mouth. Oh no, not a cat! Well, don't worry, I'm bleeding more than that little prick, so let's get into it, shall we? Hey guys, today we'll be talking about Valvrave the Liberator from Sunrise Studios, best known for their mecha anime creations. Now, while I've seen it argued that with the exception of the Gundam series, it's probably best for everybody that we just pretend they didn't make anything before Code Geass, they've actually done a pretty good job here with Valvrave. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Sunrise, or are but just don't know it yet, they're made up of 11 different subdivisions, each one referred to as their own individual anime studio, with 2, 4, 8, and 11 being the most notable as they've brought us things like Cowboy Bebop, Code Geass, Excel World, and Kurokami respectively. One of the producers from Studio 5 even going on to co-found A1 Pictures, best known for Sword Art Online, Blue Exorcist, Fairy Tail, and Magi the Labyrinth. Now I know what you're thinking because you just heard mech, and a lot of crappy anime probably just flashed before your eyes, but I'm here to tell you that if anything, this one's a bit of fun. And for those of you that are still here, let's get into it and find out why. 70% of the population now lives in space, with humanity being divided up into 3 different factions: Aris and Dorsia, who are locked in a constant state of conflict, and the neutral Gior, the home of our protagonists and smallest of nations living in fully self-contained capsule-like environments surrounding an artificial sun referred to as a Dyson sphere. Are you with me? And we pan too, and I'm pretty sure everyone is as fucking sick of this as I am, ordinary high school student Haruto Tokishima, who is portrayed as being your standard weak protagonist that needs to build his resolve. Anyway, after a while we meet some characters that will eventually make up his ragtag team of vampire mech suit piloting friends, and then after we get some character background and development out of the way, we experience a Dorsian attack. As everyone's in a panic and trying to escape, an elite group of Dorsian spies infiltrate the school's underground tunnel systems leading to a secret lab. After entering the facility and executing all the scientists inside, they try and set their sights on the futuristic mech. But before they can reach it, a not-so-dead scientist would reach up and with his last breath press a button, sending the mech shooting towards the surface. While Haruto and his friends are trying to escape, the mech warrior suddenly pops up out of the ground beside them, and faster than you can say Scud, his would-be girlfriend, is taken out in an attack that seems solely focused on her as she attempts to help somebody stuck in a car. After a few seconds of disbelief and blind despair, he decides it's a good idea to jump into this oversized mech he has no idea how to pilot in order to take revenge. Murderific! He's then presented with the question, do you resign as a human being, to which he accepts and is injected with a virus that allows him to control the mech. Anyway, after a few well-placed Getsuga-tenshos, he fends off the Dorsians and is celebrated worldwide as a hero. Later on that night, he gets stabbed through the heart and double-tapped, and we find out he's some kind of body-switching vampire. So now we have a story about a normal high school student turned vampire mech warrior pilot who's fighting against 2 armies that symbolize America and Germany if given access to mechs and space tech in the 30s and 40s and Germany wasn't so focused on, you know, genocide. Anyway, skipping ahead, the story's not too bad if you ignore some laws of physics here and some plot holes there, except the fact that teenagers have formed and are in control of their own independent nation and are fighting the equivalent of space Nazis and enjoy the anime for what it is, then you're gonna have a good time. I really do feel like I'm underselling it though, as it does have its own serious moments and themes, like invading nations, subjugating masses, a little lighthearted mass murder. Oh, and who can forget that oddly placed half-consensual rape scene that comes out of fucking nowhere. But it's mostly stuff like teenagers rebelling against an established form of government with seemingly endless resources, while the protagonist would be a girlfriend and the other students are left to handle the politics of running a newly forged nation, while 6 immortal high school students piloting various mechanized exoskeletons participate in over-stylized battles to protect their module from frequent space Nazi attacks while they sail to the moon, which is apparently neutral territory. Look, ridiculousness! Moving on, I want to talk about the animation, music, and overall feel of this clusterfuck of an anime. I reckon Sunrise has done a great job on the animation with this one, as it's somewhat reminiscent of most mecha anime, but with higher detail and a greater 3D feel during the mech battles. The Dyson sphere looks great too, not to mention the individual capsules that make it up with unique environments on a huge scale inside each one. Haruto's mech Valvrave has a unique ability that's like a mix of a Getsuga Tensho / Tron light cycle wall beam that shatters on contact into hundreds of shimmering light particles that look quite stunning. And the sound really isn't bad either, and it has its enjoyable moments from epic battle intros to ambient noise to background tracks that remind you of polyphonic ringtones on your Nokia 3200. But the voice acting was a standout right throughout, as we can come to expect from Japanese voice actors like Ryota Osaka, Haruka Tomatsu, and Ryohei Kimura, just to name a few, but the list goes on with a reasonably star-studded cast. Valvrave's like the mech equivalent of Goku, but instead of needing a little bald martyr that people don't even remember was a person and standing around for 20 minutes screaming, it just has to stab itself in the chest to become a Super Saiyan. Now after I watched this, I looked around to see what others made of it, and there seemed to be two main opinions. People either like to hate it, or they hate that they like it, and I kinda understood both, because this anime can go from entertaining to a generic mess, and then to what the fuck and back again in the span of an episode or two. If this anime tries to do anything, it's throw 100 ideas your way and expect it all to work out, and it does. Kinda. I can just imagine the guy who wrote this pitching the idea. Alright guys, I fucking nailed it. You ready? Get this. A normal high school student turned intergalactic body-switching vampire mech warrior pilot who's simultaneously immortal in the vessel for a cellular bonded brave spirit, all while trying to protect his normal high school turned independent nation from frequent space Nazi attacks. You, sir, have got yourself a contract. All the while trying to sort out his feelings towards his would-be girlfriend slash president of the newly formed nation and his new ally slash former enemy who has apparently killed millions of people all by himself while simultaneously being a teenager and having the ability to see into the future. Just stop, man. Stop. Look. If even half of this shit melts together, we've got a show. Wait, I'm not finished, but it's symbolism. The things make not so ridiculous. There's more! Whatever, man. We're gonna make a lot of money together. And now, we have Valvrave. Overall, I'd give this anime a rating of about 4 cats in the same bag. Still crazy as fuck, but calm and articulated at times. Well, what the fuck does that mean? Do I watch it? Well, the answer is yes, and why not? I'm sure you've seen fucking heaps worse. With the season 2 coming in a few weeks, it might be something to watch. Thanks for watching the first episode of AnimeZerro. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll be back next week, but in the meantime, head on over to networkzero.com for more weirdness, anime, and tons more. Once I finish this up.